Jackie, let me go to you because here's the thing. A lot of Americans listening right now is saying, I wish I had a car, I wish I could get a home, I wish I had some money for a small business. And the idea that, everyone else knows that they come in this country illegally, they have a chance to get those things.
Absolutely. And I think about the middle class and how Joe Biden said he was going to protect the middle class.
Right.
And that was the very class that he has even destroyed more, like just denting it gut punch after gut punch, because those are the people who are suffering from his 9% inflation. Those are the people who are suffering when their tax dollars are given away to people who have broken the law to get into this country illegally. But here's what I'm really worried about. I appreciate the work that President Trump and Tom Homan are doing. And I do believe if you're here illegally and you are committing crimes, you need to go. But we don't have the resources to deport everybody. So they start with the criminals. If you do the math, and take the number of maybe 12 million people coming in illegally, it's very, very difficult, and it's also costly to get them out. And I'm not necessarily sure they can see that job through, and that's why I think the fight over birthright citizenship in this country is so important, which is not a constitutional right. And even the New York Times is saying, oh, in an opinion piece, Trump might have a case here on birthright citizenship, but also voter integrity, showing ID, because I believe this was all by design to bring people into the country, have them have kids here. Now you're a citizen and you get to vote. And that is how you change the demographic.
I would double down on what you said about destroying the middle class and say also the lower class as well. No surprise, I live up in East Harlem, across the street from public housing, and it's a majority black neighborhood. And I'll never forget, on election day, I was coming home and they came out, and I mean, they know me because I'm in the neighborhood, and they were like, you voted for Trump, right? And I was shocked. I was like, and they're like, our lives are being destroyed. They're like, we're in public housing and across the street's a migrant shelter in a brand new college dorm. And they're like, and those people are getting all our free handouts. Yeah. And they're in a brand new college dorm, and we're trapped here in public housing without a way to escape the system. Right. And I was shocked hearing those statements from middle class and also, I think, lower income Americans who are just trying to claw their way out of the system.
Watching the migrants get off of buses and with the greetings and the gifts and the cards and all the stuff, it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I know it rubbed me the wrong way. When my parents divorced and we came up here on a bus, no one waited for us, no one greeted us. We were just completely penniless. And in Chicago, for instance, it really rankled a lot of folks. I mean, Kevin, what do you think? Because, I hear what Jackie's saying about how tall of a task it is, but it's got to go a lot further than anything's ever gone before for it to matter in this country, I think.
Well, that number requires one more level of dissection, because some of that went to legal people that were let into this country because they assisted America in war, for example, Afghanistan, or wherever it was. You get one of those visas, they set up your family here, we pay. And I get why we pay, because they were assisting. But you got to remember, this is actually the beginning of a whole narrative. Just like tariffs are on trade, this is a narrative about curating immigration. Because go back to after the Second World War, we brought our enemies to Texas and to other places in New Mexico to create new technology, because we recognized they were really smart guys in atomic power, and they were enemies. We should be saying, look, let's get the best and brightest. Let's give them American citizenships like we did in the Oppenheimer project. I mean, that's one everybody knows about. But we've done other ways in other technologies. And say, look, you want the American dream? Bring what you got, because we want you, and we'll
Doesn't Canada have a grading system for legal immigration that includes, like, what kind of asset can you be to the country?
Well, that was before the idiot king, Justin Trudeau, because he really screwed that up, and that's why we were in a contentious situation up in Canada between the U.S. There was no policy for the last 9 years on immigration. Right. And when they did at the beginning, they brought over Lebanese and Italian and Chinese, but each one of those 10 years earlier, what business are you going to start? What family do you have here? How can you give to society? And it worked. It really worked. And Canada was a melting pot. The idiot king destroyed that, and one of the reasons he's been kicked out. But now there's a mess up there. It's got to be fixed. Sorry, I don't really mean idiot king.
Sure you do.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, I do. He's an idiot and he's a king. So, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I could talk about Canada, but forever. But one of the there are many problematic things about Health and Human Services, but one of the big issues will be, and I mentioned it last week, because Gavin Newsom expanded state Medicaid in California to be available to every single illegal migrant in the state, and it's already running, it was estimated it was going to cost that expansion just a year ago $6 billion. It's already running $9.5 billion.
Right. So
in total, in California, the state spends $190 billion on Medicaid, but more than half of it comes from the feds. So how much money? The federal government is not supposed to pay a dime toward illegal migrant health care coverage in Medicaid or Medicare, period. How much money will, say, California try to siphon off out of the federal government? It's completely illegal. But when they're already taking $119 billion of $190 billion from the feds for Medicaid, and they just piled all of these additional people, which is a huge incentive for people to try to come across the border illegally.
Sure.
It's just a question of you're going to have a huge crackdown on money flowing out of the door in Medicaid, particularly to California.
Yeah, they say money is fungible, right? And to getting to the bottom of it, parsing out who's legal, who's not legal, and all that stuff is a difficult task. But these numbers speak for themselves. They're hundreds of billions of dollars.
On Newsom's work so far. If this is Giuliani moment, is he going to fix himself?
No
way.
No. He might get a new hairstyle, though. He might part it down the left or something.
But he's not. He might be a self-appointed king, but he is not stupid. He is not stupid. He is crafty.
But he has an opportunity to be like a Giuliani guy after 9/11. Haven't seen it yet, but that's his opportunity.
It won't happen. By the way,